Welcome to the March 2017 edition of the Recruiting Insider. We have got a lot of people registered. We're over 800 attendees now and registrants, and I do not take that lightly. Thank you so much, guys, for being here and for just, everybody continuing to tell folks about this webinar. Matt and I do not take it lightly, and this webinar session is entitled Purposefully Planning for, and I'm getting feedback that the screen looks weird. Stand by one, folks. Oops, I see what's going on. Let's try that. Let me see if I get feedback that looks good. So while I'm waiting for some of the folks that are on the webinar and I appreciate that. You guys are quick to tell me that when things aren't looking right, and we got that fixed. Thank you so much for that. And so kind of starting over, this session is on purposefully planning for intentional success. And just a couple of housekeeping things. I want to let folks know Matt Lee and I will be at the American Trucking Association Safety Management Council policy meeting next week in Washington, D.C. And the ATA, Safety Management Council, has been a supporter of the Recruiting Insider Call, and we are members of that council and highly recommend it. It is a great networking opportunity, and there's a working group there called on driver recruiting, driver retention, and driver wellness. And I don't know of any more important topic in the industry today. So stand by for news on that. And I want to take an opportunity to thank the folks that support this Recruiting Insider Call each month as well. Of course, Impact eLearning, we have an e-learning division here at Impact that is just phenomenal, and that's all I'll say. If you're interested in e-learning for your drivers, your shop, your office staff, I hope that you give us an opportunity to show you our system. HireRight, tell you they're just great friends, and blast this out to their clients every month and help to grow the registrants for this, and I appreciate their support. And of course, Ramsey Media Works. Matt I've had a relationship with Ramsey since I was director of recruiting at CFI, and Julie Ramsey was my advertising rep, and she frankly, I got to tell you guys, I was pretty green, and I could trust Julie. The recommendations she made to me were spot on, and she could tell me why they were spot on, and just helped really drive my success, because you all agree, if we can't find them, we can't recruit them. And with that being said, we have our friend Matt Lee with us. Matt, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you.
All righty. Well, and go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say thank you so much for having me on this webinar every month.
Absolutely. And, Matt, I don't take lightly the investment and time that Ramsey puts into the creation of these slides and your time in delivering and just basically giving away your intellectual property. And I appreciate that. And with saying that, you're going to be talking to us about Facebook today.
That's correct. I have people ask me all the time, hey, does Facebook work? Or, hey, I'm going to implement Facebook, and so do you have any tips? Do you have any good advice for me? And so I would like to, talk today about 4 different types of Facebook ads that are actually good for recruiting, because there are a bunch, and you'll see as I'm going along here. But first, I want to kind of tell you that there is a guide out there. So if you go to facebook.com/business/ads guide, it will actually give you tips, all kinds of different ways to advertise using Google. But I want to highlight 4 different ways. So again, there's a lot of different types of advertising. So if we go to that next slide, you can see on the far left that there are multiple ways to use Facebook today. But I want to focus on just the 4. So the first 2 that I want to talk about are how can we get our page likes and more page post engagement. And so the goal of both of those is to post something engaging that drivers like your page, that basically get them to like the page, and then they'll start getting to know you. So it's kind of like planting the seed. That's what these particular tools for Facebook or these particular ad types are supposed to do. And so the number 1, which would be the Facebook page likes, is to promote your page itself. And the number 2 example here that I want to talk about is that promotes a specific post. So I put an example down here. It has to be something very engaging. This particular example has a video because we want to make sure that it's dynamic enough that they will watch it and then in turn like the page. So those are a couple. The third way that I want to talk about today is lead generation. And so what we're trying to do is to get the contact information from that driver. In order to do that, we have to offer something in return, like a free newsletter, or there's multiple ways that you can get engagement. And again, Facebook offers all kinds of great tools and techniques to do that. But when the driver hits the subscribe button down there, it's the example that I put, then they're going to basically get a short form to fill out. So then they would put in their name and email address and any information that you would want to gain for that particular candidate, and then you have that lead from then on. So this is a way to get great lead generation. So the fourth way I want to talk about today is actually it's direct. What we're trying to do is direct them to the landing page itself. And so the link itself, if the post is engaging enough, you can see there by the sample where there's a Learn More button on the actual ad, and that Learn More then takes them directly into the landing page. And so we want to make sure, though, that the message that's on Facebook is consistent with the message that is actually on the landing page, so when they get there, they know they're at the right place. And so those were just 4 different techniques that I wanted to share today regarding Facebook. If you have any questions, obviously we're available, but also feel free to use that link back to Facebook, and there are lots of great techniques there. And so with that, I'll turn it back over to Kelly.
Hey, Matt, I appreciate it, sir, and thank you for the help on that. And I know that you had kind of told me previously that you had to bump and run on this presentation today. So if you need to leave, I will send to you. If you have any questions for Matt on this, and he's already gone because of his other agenda today, thank you for squeezing us in here, Matt. I will forward those questions on to Matt, and we'll certainly get those answers for you. Check out recruitingsessions.com. He edutains you with this information and techniques, and literally after you watch one, you're going to watch every one of them because you're always wondering what's he going to do next. So with that, Matt, thank you, sir. Appreciate your help today on making this a success. And so kind of shifting gears, purposefully planning for intentional success. When I ask people, hey, do you want to be successful? Pretty much everybody says, yeah, I want to be successful. But the truth is, I think you can separate people into 3 different groups. The first group, and you're probably reading ahead because the way I designed my slide is put it all out there for you. The first group, is what I call paycheckers. These folks, they want to be successful, but the truth is, they're not really willing to work for it. They're willing, if you give it to them, then that sounds great, but are they willing to put any effort into or sacrifice into becoming successful, or into, if they had it, then keeping it? And frankly, they're just kind of hoping that it accidentally happens. If I show up to work every day and just kind of go through the motions and do the thing that I'm just doing, one of these days, then I'll be successful, maybe, if it happens. The next group, I call those hard workers. And by the way, I don't mean to be derogatory about paycheckers, but I will be honest with you. In my company, I work hard not to have paycheckers, because I don't need people just going through the motions. I need people that are coming to work, that are engaged, looking at what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it. Does it make sense? Can I do it faster, better, cheaper? Is this going to work for tomorrow? Why should I keep doing this way when I've got to undo it and do it the right way later? So I need people that are engaged and are there. The book Fish is a parody written about the Pike's Place fish market, and one of the principles is be there. One is also choose your attitude, and the first thing I always look for is a positive attitude in a person. I can't give you attitude. I can give you skill, but I can't give you attitude. And so choose your attitude. Second is be there. And, that principle is wrapped around, not being at work, but really have your mind on at home or on other things. It's coming to work, to be at work, to do work. So that's paycheckers. Hard workers, they're working hard. They're willing to put the effort in. They're willing to sacrifice. And man, I'm just working for it. But in a lot of cases, they're just hoping that it accidentally happens. Now, I will take a hard worker. Frankly, folks, I was a hard worker. I was a hard worker until a friend of mine, Rick Crane from American Truck Driving School, loaned me a set of tapes. And, it was like the science of personal achievement, and then the psychology of success, see you at the top, in search of excellence. He started loaning me these tapes. And through these tapes, I took my hard work and really started focusing on it. And the third group is successful folks, successful companies, and successful people. These are people that purposefully work, purposefully plan for intentional success. We understand what success looks like. We understand where it's at. We understand how to measure it. And we understand the steps that we have to take to get there. And we are working every single day with that purpose. Because we're not hoping for accidental success. We are purposefully planning for intentional success. So when you take a hard worker and you teach them about goal setting, and you show them what their part is in your vision and your goals and the steps to get there, now you give those hard workers that direction. Get out of the way, because look out. They're willing to do it. Lots of folks are just looking for a leader to show them the direction, which kind of takes me to the next slide. The number one reason that Fortune 50 companies fail in the United States is because executive management, executive vice presidents, do not understand how their department contributes to the success of the company. So here's the question. How does your company define success? How does your department contribute to the success of the company? Folks, when I do management training and management coaching. I've got 30 managers across the country that I'm working with right now. And folks, as I ask managers around the country that question, by the way, how do you define success? I do a course called the Certified Director of Recruiting course. And one of the questions I ask the audience, hey, how do you define success in your area of responsibility? And honestly, the look I get initially is one of, I don't know. What do you mean? Well, what should I be measuring? What parts, what line items should I have to create that measurement? Now, folks, then that's okay, ish, because if we get to the point where we realize, man alive, I don't know, then let's work on defining that. That's where we want to get to. To stay there is not okay. To stay at a point of, I don't know, man, I'm just telling you, I come in every day and I look for fires to fight, and I fight fires all day. I'm a really good firefighter, and I fight them all day long. I take calls, I answer emails, I send things out, I place the ads, and we work the apps, and we get the drivers in orientation, and we do it all again tomorrow. Folks, are we really moving forward at all? We can get so busy doing the things that aren't important that we don't have the time to do the things that are. So this really starts giving us purpose and direction. So how does your company define success? And maybe some areas that you would consider. How do they define success in the area of profitability? How do you define success in the area of productivity? How do we define success in the area of customer service, in the area of employee satisfaction, and in the area of growth? And once we have those 5 areas, now we can start putting some real detailed answer behind it. And once we have that real detailed answer behind it, now we can start putting forth a detailed plan on how to reach it. So, first thing we have to know is, how does the company define success? Because then my second question is, how does your area of responsibility support the corporate goals and success? So, how do I contribute to the corporate success? And so then you define that. And I've got to tell you, if my company wants profitability at one level, then I'm going to make my goal even higher, so I'm not dragging the company down. I'm actually building it up. So in the area of productivity as well, in the area of customer service, who are our customers? And frankly, I look at our external customers and our internal customers, and how do we define success in the customer service of our customers, in the service of our customers? By the way, back to the book Fish, it's about that. And it's about the third floor. The parody is the Pike's Place Fish Market, which people travel from all over the country. And if you're in Seattle, you've got to go see the Pike's Place Fish Market. These guys are gutting fish, for crying out loud. They're shipping fish. Yet, they're having a great time doing it. And people come to watch them because it is a show. Now, on the other hand, the parody is the third floor at the local company that is so abusive, so angry, so mean, so out of control that nobody wants to call the third floor. Oh, don't deal with the third floor. Holy cow, those people, they brighten up the room when they leave. So that's the parody. Well, it's amazing as you read the book and you see how she sets a goal and she gets her people to set the right attitude. She gets them to be there, and then she shows them a direction. So once we know how our company defines success, once we know how our area of responsibility contributes to that success. By the way, guys, I got to tell you this. When I was over recruiting at CFI, at one point I set a schedule for every one of my recruiters to go visit every department. It was part of a new recruiter training where they would visit every department within the company. My brand new recruiters would sit through orientation first, and then they'd go sit in operations and maintenance and accounting, and their different areas in safety, and then come back. But this was shocking, absolutely shocking. When I sent my experienced recruiters to do the same thing, and I had recruiters that had been with me for a long time that came back and said, oh, now I see how our department supports and fits into the company. Folks, that was shocking. If your employees don't understand how your department fits into and supports the mission of the company, then what are they doing every day? How are they doing it? Why are they doing it? So once they understood that, they understood how we fit into the puzzle, that they had even more direction and more of a spring in their step. They weren't just going through the motions anymore. So once we have that, we can also create specific expectations that support those goals and specific measurements. One of those complaints I see from people or from employees is, I don't know what's expected from me. I don't know if I'm doing a good job or a bad job. And I have managers that'll say, well, I'm just telling you, if I'm not chumping on you, then I'm happy with you. Okay, just keep doing what you're doing. You know, if I'm not happy, you'll know it. Is that really how we want to manage? I think I almost sounded New Yorkish when I said that. Anyway, the other day I found out that people out that don't live in Texas and people that aren't from Texas, they have accents. I just figured that out the other day. Some of you are laughing and some aren't. Okay, anyway, we'll get back into the seminar. So, the webinar. So what do you expect from your employees? And what can your employees expect from you? That sets the tone for the working relationship. It sets the direction for the working relationship. Explain to your employees how the company defines success. Explain to them how your department contributes to the success. And explain to them how they contribute to the success of the department and the company. And these are the things that you need done and why. And then also empower them that they're looking at what, why, and how they're doing things, and engage on the fact of, is this really the best way to do it? And then make appropriate suggestions. So how do we purposely plan for intentional success? Once we know what the end goal looks like, now we can start creating goals. And goals need to be immediate. I've got to tell you, I'm sitting here at my desk, and I've got my little yellow notepad. It's kind of one of those little 4x7 little miniature yellow notepads. The reason I use that size is on that size I'm able to put 5 to 6 things on each page max. And there are things, because if you have too many things, if I use an 8.5 by 11, I put way too many things on a page. Well, then I can't finish them. And then I get to another page, and then I can't finish all those, and then you get multiple page flipped over. So I use the small ones so that I can, if I don't finish everything on the page, it's not that many items that I have to transpose over onto a new page. So it makes it kind of easy that way. And so I have things that I know I need to get done today, and I've got that list. Those are my immediate goals. I'm going to get this done today. I've got some goals that I've got to get done between now and Monday. And so those are kind of immediate, kind of short term, but I know what I'm trying to get done between now and next Monday. Then we have short-term goals. And I'll give you an example of a short-term goal that I have. I have an action list that I share as part of my proactive driver retention techniques. And I have found that companies that implement this action list reduce their turnover rate 35 to 50%. Well, up to this point, I've always just kind of given it to them, I always give it, we work on it through the seminar, and I give them that list at the end of the seminar. And recently I had one of my clients that they're sending each one of the attendees, everybody in the company, they're sending an email with one of those action lists on it every week. And it's really keeping the energy high. Well, I've made a goal, and I guess the long term, if you want, this is kind of a short long. I mean, by the end of this year, I want to have a PowerPoint presentation, a short PowerPoint presentation, kind of like this, created for every single one of those action items. But the short-term piece is, since there's like 50 some odd of them, and the list continues to grow, is how many do I want to get this done this month? So I got 10 I want to get done this month, 10 I want to get done next month, 10 the month after that. So I've split. I want the thing completely done by December 31st this year, but I've got the short-term goals of what I want to get done this month. So I've split that big goal into bite-sized goals. So you have your immediate, you have your short-term, and you have your long-term. I mean, some fleets will say, hey, I want to, we want to grow by 10 trucks this year, or we want to grow by 200 trucks this year. I've got clients on both ends of the scale. Well, one of the goals that we ought to have as recruiters is the empty truck count. What is our goal for how many trucks we're willing to have sit empty? Be careful where you set that goal, because your people will rise to the absolute best of their ability or to the level of your expectations, whichever is less. So be careful where you set your goals and don't set them too low. So you have them split up. So then your goals need to be specific. The acrostic is SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and planned with a time frame. I was recently in a seminar, and the president, and we had a retention seminar, and we went to set the turnover reduction goal, and the president said that he wanted to reduce the turnover rate by 50% in the next 90 days. And I said, sir, I believe you are smoking weed. Guys, I am not kidding you about that. The entire room passed out, laughing, and I was laughing, and I was sure hoping inside that he was laughing too. I'm just saying, like, oh shoot, I want to be in so much trouble with my wife when I tell her I said this. Luckily, he laughed too. And when we all got done, then I shifted and says, guys, there's where he's put it out there. I got to ask you, that's specific. It's measurable, and it's planned with the time frame. It's attainable, but is it realistic? And if it is, and you can saddle up, and you're willing to get committed, and you're willing to gun for it every day, then let's do it. But if it's not, then let's tell them what we are willing to do. And I'm going to tell you, that client set the goal to reduce their turnover rate by 50% in 6 months. And they are ahead of that goal today. I will tell you, that president, with lots of emotion, said, Kelly, when I said in 90 days you thought I was being unreasonable, he says, I'm going to tell you why I said that. It's because of this group of people. I know what this group can accomplish. And I'm here to tell you, they're not going to get 50 and 90, but I think they're on track for 35% reduction in turnover in 90 days. And now there'll be a 50 in 6 months. He was right. He knew his people. They're just phenomenal. So folks, I hope that as a result of this webinar, the time that we've had, that you come out of here and define specifically, how do you define success, and start putting a plan together where you purposefully plan for intentional success on a daily basis. Share that with your employees. Show them that direction, and they will get engaged with you and help you to accomplish it. Where would your company be if everybody understood what the goal was and we're working toward it every single day? Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Next month's Insider Call is on April the 12th. Look forward to seeing you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.